Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's first video of the day, we are starting a little bit later today, but that's okay. We're still getting these Big Ten reactions and predictions out for you guys as well. Also, stay tuned because I will be talking about where I'm going for my high school football playoffs round 2, and we'll talk a little bit about the players and stuff like that here once we do high school predictions and stuff like that as well. So, stay tuned later on today if you're interested in that one. However, in today's first video, we are going to be going over the Big Ten high school, or the Big Ten games that were played this past weekend. We're going to talk UCLA, Iowa on Friday night. That game was a thriller. We're going to talk Oregon dominating Maryland, of course. We'll talk Ohio State. We'll talk Penn State, what I like about Penn State, and what I don't like about Penn State as well. All of that and more in today's video. However, if you guys are new to the channel, obviously, you already know what to do. Leave a like, subscribe, turn that bell on as we do our best to post on this channel every single day. Next year, going to be a little bit of a college football, next season, a lot of college football vlogs coming to the channel. So, hit that sub button as next year, once college football rolls around, I'm planning on trying to go to every single SEC stadium in the country. Starting off with Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, all of those guys. Those vlogs will, of course, come to the channel if I get the opportunity to do them. So hit that sub button. We're trying to make a little bit of money before we can do that as well. So, with that being said, you already know what to do as we hop into these Big Ten reactions. Alright, so kicking us off on Friday night, we had Iowa going into UCLA. This game was a phenomenal game from both teams. It was a very defensive side of the ball. UCLA getting the upset win over Iowa. Now, let's talk about Iowa for a second, because Iowa, it's either a 40 bomb or they don't really score a whole lot of points, which is what we saw tonight or on Friday night this past week. Now, when it comes to UCLA, on the other hand, UCLA, they have been, we'll just say, decent. They're not a bad football team by any means. Obviously, their losses, I think, have been to Oregon. They've been to LSU. They've been to really, really solid teams, which is why they're 4-5. Now, in the Big Ten, conference is going to be a lot tougher. Obviously, they grind out the win here as UCLA's quarterback throws for 2 touchdowns. The running back had about 130 yards as well on the ground, and UCLA gets the job done at home against Iowa. Iowa struggling a little bit. However, they are bowl eligible now. Let's see if UCLA can get there within these final 2 weeks of the regular season. Alright, moving on to Saturday, we have Ohio State hosting Purdue. Guys, this was a blowout. I don't think anybody got this pick wrong if they predicted Ohio State. Will Howard, 21 of 26, almost perfect, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns on the day for him. Jeremiah Smith had a receiving touchdown as well. Henderson also had 1 touchdown on the day as well, as Ohio State routes Purdue 45-0. Anyone could have predicted this one, and Ohio State still looking like the number 2 team in the country. So go Buckeyes as they get the job done at home against a struggling Purdue team. Alright, let's talk the number 1 team in America right now. Oregon hosting Maryland. This game, obviously the final score doesn't indicate it, but for the most part, it was kind of a lopsided affair. Oregon getting the job done, 39-18. Kind of a weird score, if you're asking me. Now, Dillon Gabriel didn't play terrible. Obviously, he had a couple touchdown passes on the day. They scored 7 in the first, 14 in the second, 38 in the third, which is kind of where that weird score came in, and then 10, of course, in the fourth quarter. That's just kind of how the scoring went. Maryland didn't really kick it on until the fourth quarter, if you know what I'm saying, where they scored the most points that they scored in the whole game. Obviously, from me, did not able to watch this game, but Dillon Gabriel did have a couple of touchdown passes that looked really solid. Still in the Heisman race. It's just, I don't think he's going to win it, but Dillon Gabriel and the Oregon Ducks are still the number 1 team in the country and get the job done at home against the Maryland Terrapins. Alright, let's talk one of the wackier scores of the day. Of course, Indiana hosting Michigan. Now, this game was one of the ones where you looked on your CBS or ESPN app, whatever one you use. I use both. Doesn't really matter for any of college football. Gets you all the same scores, so there's that right there. However, this was one of the ones where you saw the score and you were like, oh, Michigan's keeping it close with Indiana. Might want to tune in. So, if you were one of those people, I know I was, Indiana did struggle offensively. Obviously, in the second half, they couldn't really get any momentum going offensively. Michigan started to come back there a little bit, but by the end, it was a little bit too late. Now, again, Indiana's quarterback, Rook, was 17 of 28, 208 yards on the day. Had 2 touchdown passes as well. So he did not look horrible throwing the football. It's just Indiana's defense allowed Michigan to come back a little bit. However, they get the stand that they needed towards the end of the game, I believe. And Indiana gets the job done at home against Michigan in what could have been a very, very scary game for the Indiana Hoosiers. Washington going into Penn State was the next Big Ten game on the schedule. Man, I thought Washington could have upset Penn State here. I really did. Now, it was a whiteout for Penn State, so obviously Penn State gets the win. Warren threw for 2 touchdown passes on the night as well, and Drew Aller had himself a day. Obviously, 1 touchdown pass, 220 yards through the air, 20 of 28 as well. And then, of course, Allen also had 1 touchdown on the night as well, as Penn State did, of course, beat Washington. And, yeah, they got the job done in the whiteout game of the week. Honestly, if this wasn't a wipeout, Washington would have had a better chance. But it was a whiteout. Penn State fans, you already know, you get excited for that sort of things. Now, Penn State, one thing I will say, James Franklin, he's got to go. You're not going to win a big-time game with James Franklin as your head coach. Now, I didn't get to do Big Ten reactions last week, so I'm going to talk about that here in a second, where James Franklin, of course, goes down, has the chance to win the game, and your quarterback, Drew Aller, I don't know what, A, the play call was on that play on 3rd down, and B, what Drew Aller was thinking, throwing it into triple coverage in the end zone. But that is my sole definition as to why Ohio State or Penn State is never going to win a big game under James Franklin. Now, they're still number 6 in the AP poll, or in the college football playoff, which I've done my thoughts on that. However, when it comes down to this game, Penn State looks really, really good. They can beat the bad opponents, but are they good enough to kind of go to the next level and beat the really, really good teams in the Big Ten Conference? Kind of the same way with Auburn a few years ago when they had Gus Malzahn at the helm and stuff like that. So, Penn State, celebrate this week as you get the job done against Washington in your annual whiteout game. And the final game of the weekend, we have Rutgers hosting Minnesota. A very even-matched game for the most part. Obviously, Broomer, the quarterback for Minnesota, had 262 yards of offense, threw for 1 touchdown as well, and was 21 of 45. Lots of passes were thrown in this matchup. I was not able to watch any of this matchup. However, then you have Minnesota's quarterback playing really, really well as well. Kind of turned into an offensive game, only a 7-point touchdown, 1 touchdown game. It was a very close game all the way throughout, and Minnesota just couldn't find it there towards the end as Rutgers secures the win, and I believe now is bowl eligible on the year. Don't quote me on that one, but Rutgers does get the win at home against Minnesota. Anyway, of course, that is going to do it for this first video of the day. If you have not already, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn that bell on, as we'll do our best to post on this channel every single day. Like I said, around this time next year, I'm going to be trying to go to every single SEC school in the country, get a taste of their traditions and stuff. So we're trying to raise a little bit for that as well. I'll have information regarding that soon. Just a quick little announcement what I want to do here in the near future on the channel as well. So, like, subscribe, turn that bell on. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.